Hey guys, today we're going to do the last visual way to represent data, and that is called a histogram. Um, just to let you know, if you didn't already realize, this is the last lesson in this unit. So after this, we're having our test, which I did tell you guys already. It's going to be more like a quiz because this was only 5 lessons long. So no freaking out, it's just like a quiz. Okay, so histograms. Let's get into histograms. Histograms are another visual way that we can look at a data set. The difference between dot plots and histograms is that histograms group the data into intervals. So instead of putting a dot for every single data point, this time what we're doing is we're going to take our data and look at it in groups, like 1 to 5, 6 to 10, 10 to 15, etc. So histograms are actually bar graphs, which you learned how to do a long time ago, and each bar represents one of the intervals of the data. So what I did here was I made some steps for you, and I gave you an example before we start. So the first step is to make a frequency table by dividing the data into equal-sized intervals and then writing the number of data points in each interval. You should have learned how to make a frequency table at some point previously in another grade. I'm not sure which one. So the way that you would do this is to put these all in order first, okay? So we have, how many ones do we have? We have 3 ones. And then 2, we have 1, 2, 2 twos. We have 3 threes, sorry. Okay, and that's it. Then after that we have a 6, right? Sorry, having a hard time seeing this. 6, there's 2 6s, and 7, and an 8. And then we have 10, 12, and 14. Okay, so to make a frequency table, what you want to do is you want to try to separate these into intervals. They just have to be the same number of numbers in each interval. And I don't mean the frequency, I mean how you're breaking up your intervals has to be the same. So if you want to do 1 to 3 instead of 1 to 4, then the next group has to be 4 to 6. And then after that, it would have to be 7 to 9. So you have to think about how you're going to group them. Most of the time in this lesson, you're given the intervals already, but if you're doing homework, or if you're doing a test, you have to figure it out yourself, okay? So usually you can pretty much figure it out. So the way that they did this, we know we had to go all the way up to 14. So we have from 1 to 3, there's a group. So what they did was they broke it up into 1 to 4. So from the interval 1 to 4, there are 8 values. So you just count how many numbers are there between 1 and 4. Then the next group would be from 5 to 8. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 in that interval. Then the next group would be 9 to 12, which is the next 4. So there's 2. And then the last group would be 13 through 16. And there's only 1 value there. Okay? So you're not breaking up your intervals based on how many numbers you have. You're breaking them up thinking about what your lowest value and highest value is, but your intervals have to be equal. So, like I said before, if you wanted to do 1 to 3, you can do it however you want, but you're going to have more lists of numbers, and you may have less numbers in those sections too. So anyway, you write how many you have, the frequency table. Now you make your actual histogram, and this is how you do it. You make what looks like just quadrant 1 of a graph. And you guys have made bar graphs before in the past. On the bottom is the data, and on the side is the frequency. Okay, so what you do is you write your interval here, and then you plot it as a bar graph. So there was 8, you make a bar up to 8 for the interval 1 to 4, and then 5 through 8 birds, there was 4, 9 through 12, 2, and 13 through 16 was just 1. And that's how you do it. So we're going to just get right into it, looking at number 4, the your turn, and we're going to make a histogram. Now, luckily, this histogram is all it's all set up for you. So you have your scale already, you have the intervals, everything. Okay, so it's going to be a little more helpful. So she started rating movies from on a scale from 1 to 10, and these are her ratings. So what we want to do is we want to look at these intervals, and we're going to place the numbers in an interval. So in the interval of 1 to 2, there is 1 data value, and that's it. The next interval is 3 to 4. And notice I'm not making a whole frequency table because I already have this here. If you normally want to do that, then that's what you would do first. 3 to 4, I have 1, 2, and that's it. From 5 to 6, I have 1, 2, 3. From 7 to 8, of course, remember these intervals are all spaced twos, going by twos. 7 to 8, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then from 9 to 10, we have 1, 2. Okay, so to make our histogram, we're just going to make bars for each of these. So in the 1 to 2 interval range, I only have 1, so that's in between 0 and 2. So I make a bar like that. Okay. And you can shade it in. It's generally best to shade it in. From 3 to 4 is 2, so I make my bar going up to 2. Shade it. From 5 to 6, there's 3, so that's in between 2 and 3. So that's going to go up to here, like this. Then from 7 to 8, I had 7. So I'm going to go all the way up to 7, which is way up here, in between 6 and 8. Okay. Shade it in, lightly or dark, whatever you want. And then finally, 9 to 10 is just 2, like this. Doop. And that's my histogram. Nice and easy. Okay, so for this question here, Wendy kept track of the number of text messages she sent each day for 3 weeks. Complete the frequency table. So all we have to do for this one is do a frequency table. So they're giving us the first interval from 0 to 9. So that means we're going by tens, because that's 10 values. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So the next is going to be 10. And what will be 10 more than that? So we're going to make you guys, I'm going to have you finish this up, okay? So I want you guys to fill this out and do the frequencies as well. Do the intervals yourself. I want to see, make sure you guys can do this, and then unpause it and check your answers. Okay, guys, hopefully you didn't get too thrown off by the counting by tens here. If you did 10 to 20 and then 21 to 31, just be careful because you're including that number 10. So it doesn't go 10 to 20, that would be 11 numbers. 10 to 19 is 10 numbers, then 20 to 29, and 30 to 39. So once you look at your your data, you'll see that there's 4 in between 0 and 9, 3 for 10, 19, 9 for 20, 29, and 5 for 30 and 39. And that's all you had to do for that one. Okay, so to finish up, we're going to do this question, which is from the independent practice. I think it's, well, it says it's number 5, but I'm pretty sure it's independent practice. An amusement park employee records the ages of people who ride the new roller coaster during a 15-minute period. Here's the ages of the riders. And we're going to complete the frequency table and then make a histogram. So again, they're giving us our first interval. And if you weren't sure what type of an interval to use, remember that you're looking at where your smallest data value is. So in this case, we've got 12. 11, sorry. Nobody's younger than 11, right? So you're probably not going to start your interval at 11. So we're starting at 10. And you can see that your highest number here is it 56? I think it's 56. So we should probably be going up by tens here because that's a really, really big range from 10 to 56. So from 10 to 19, and then we'll go from 20 to 29, and then from 30 to 39, and then from 40 to 49, and then from 50 to 59. Okay, and now we just do our frequency. So people between the ages of 10 and 19, let's do that. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 people between the ages of 10 and 19, 20 to 29. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 30 to 39. 1, 2, 3. 40 to 49. 1, 2, 3, 4. And finally 50 to 59. 1, 2. Okay, and now we can make our frequency table. So I like that this one is blank to give us some practice with that. On this side, remember this is always the part that shows the frequency, so you want to label it frequency like that. And then the bottom is the ages of riders, right? That's what our data is. So ages of riders. Okay, so our frequency is ranging from 2 to 9, so we can, if this is going up, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. So if we make them go up by 2s, we can get all the way up to 10. So this is 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. And my ages of riders is in intervals. So the first interval is 10 to 19. And then we have 20 to 29. 30 to 39. 40 to 49. I didn't really leave myself enough room here. And then 50 to 59. Okay, so 10 to 19 went all the way up to 9. So that's halfway between 8 and 9. Okay, so that's going to look like this. Guys, feel free to use rulers if you want for these, because mine don't come out so great. Okay, and you can shade it in. You can even use highlighters for this, markers, whatever you want. Colored pencils. Have fun with it. 20 to 29, 7. So that's halfway in between 6 and 8. 30 to 39, 3. Halfway between 2 and 4. 40 to 49 is 4. Okay. And then 50 to 59 is just 2. Which doesn't shock me. Okay. And that's our histogram. So describe 2 things you you know about the riders who are represented by the data. So something I know, there was nobody younger than, 11? There was no one younger than 11. And there was nobody older than 56. Now, I should say, just from looking at the histogram, we don't know the actual ages. All we know is the interval. So what we actually know is that there's no one younger than 10 if we didn't have this data. And no one older than 59. Sorry about that. Okay. Something else you could say, I'm not going to write it out, but something else you could say would be the greatest number of riders were kids between 10 and 19, and the least number of riders were people between 50 and 59. Okay, guys, so that's histograms, and that's everything from this whole unit. So this is it, kiddos. We're done with 6th grade math. Can you believe it? So tomorrow we'll review, and then Friday we'll have our quiz test. I'm not even going to call it a test because it's going to be so short. And then after that, we're going to be starting our getting ready for 7th grade stuff. Woohoo! All right, kiddos, have fun with this.